Right. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the April 26th, 2024 meeting of the Open Space and Recreation Plan Ad Hoc Committee. And before we begin, I'd like to read you some stuff.
Please.
This is to formally advise that is required by MGL Chapter 38, squiggle, squiggle, 18 to 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, as extended by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. The OSRP Ad Hoc Committee will hold a public meeting at the date and time noted on the notice of meeting. Public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided on the notice of meeting available on the Town of Yarmouth website.
Oh, I missed part of that. Well, would you repeat it?
Nope, but thank you for asking.
What part did you miss?
Let's take some attendance. Christine Marzigliano,
Here.
Gail Charette, Ellie Lawrence,
Here.
Steve Szanski,
Here.
Will Rubenstein here. And also amazing people in addition to that are here. They are Brittany DiRienzo, Conservation Administrator. Yeah. Yay. And also Anthony Bennett, Recreation Director. Okay. And Kathy Williams. And all of you on the internet.
Nobody, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody.
All right. We have
Oh, wait a minute.
stuff to discuss. We do? Okay. Let's see.
Nate.
It's Nate.
Yep.
All right. Let the record show that Nate Witten from DPW is somewhere on the internet. And that's okay. We're appreciative of that. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna turn it to Kathy so she could briefly summarize why we're actually here
Sure.
on this date and time, and then we'll move on.
Right. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Hopefully Nate can see that. We went, Christine. Oh, thank you, Nate. And Ellie was there as well. We met with the Board of Selectmen on April 9th to review the Open Space and Rec Plan. I think overall it was very enthusiastically supported and very much appreciative of all the work everyone has done on this very, very detailed document. There was one board member, Mark Forrest, who had some comments that he wanted to have the committee or just consider for incorporation into the plan. What I've tried to do is summarize in the memo here and in the packet what the issues were and how we might be able to incorporate them into the Open Space and Rec Plan action table 9-2. So the first one was related to concerns about large tracts of existing private recreation land, such as golf courses being developed. Right page here. And we already had an action item 2A-2 to develop a list of properties, and those list of properties did include large tracts of undeveloped private recreation land. So I just added in there, for possible future acquisition or conservation restrictions. So I don't know if we can go through each one.
I think we should just go through each one and quickly chat about them.
Yeah, I agree.
And then move on to the next one on the memo. Is that okay with everybody?
Mhm.
All right, cool. So first one.
I think it was implied. They kind of implied anyway.
All right.
Cricket.
Sounds good. Conservation Administrator says sounds good. Unquote.
Right.
Okay.
So let's go down. So the next thing had to do with, as many of you know, that Mark is also on the Cape Cod Conservation District, and they have been doing some funding for some different bog restoration projects. And he was interested in having the Cape Cod Hospital Bayview Bog Restoration Project incorporated into the plan. So I did add an extra action item 3D-2 that says just to continue with the Cape Cod Hospital Bayview Bogs Wetland Restoration Project to restore abandoned cranberry bogs off Bayview Street. Really, the responsible party is the Cape Cod Hospital, excuse me. And then I kept with regard to the high and the funding sources, I kept them the same as for the other wetland restoration projects. It's on page 129.
Yeah,
The
but
bottom.
that property's in Yarmouth.
It's in Yarmouth, right, right. So I don't know if anyone had any issues with adding 3D-2, the Bayview Bogs.
It's in Yarmouth, but it's a private.
Yeah, it's
county-
privately owned.
County project.
My only question for the Conservation Administrator and Conservation Commission is, does it matter where this falls on the priority list? Like in terms of the ranking? Like, does it need to be the,
One of
I
the
have
first-
trouble with giving it a ranking since it's not our responsibility.
Yeah. I would too.
wait, well,
it's-
can I, help me untangle that a little? So it is in Yarmouth, but it's not our responsibility.
We don't know.
Okay.
So I don't
And
know. if
it's
we should
being
give
done by the,
it a rank.
Right.
with Cape Cod Hospital and, county.
So is it fair to say that this is not entirely meaningful?
Well,
I mean, it's meaningful, but it's not,
meaningful,
but
I
it's not
wanna put it
actual. I
as
don't know what I'm
like,
trying to say. Someone please help me
Addresses
speak good English here.
certain-
Yeah.
You know, you could put it
It's
as
gonna
medium
restore
high.
the herring run portion of the stream that's here. I don't think there's.
Way on the north side, it then connects to the other item that he has, the
Oh.
marsh, the mill pond.
Let me be more clear.
marsh.
So under objective 3D, there's 3D1, 3D2, 3D3. I guess, does it matter, Brittany and Ellie, where this falls? Right? Because we are also saying within each of these action items, well, here are the ones that are the most important, and then the second most important, and the third most important. And if it's just, I'm gonna say that word political, okay, that it's on this list, which, okay, I get it. Then I'm just trying to understand, like,
I think the reason.
Do we
why
need
he
to put it
in
one or two or
two
three?
is Because he has identified other. research- well,
Right,
the objective
yeah. Right.
Is a project, so it's been,
Yeah.
so
it's been identified.
it actually exists.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist, it's just not being done.
It's a good point. I think it's also helps because whenever things are in an open space and rec plan or any type of plan, when you're applying for different grants, to be able to
Of course,
say
so
it's in a plan.
It's
it-
been
it
identified.
boosts it, right, it boosts it. And exactly what Brittany said is we already said identify other ones. Well, this one happened to start really going very heavily while we were in our process here after the draft had been submitted. I think the concept of how you want to label it is high. I mean, medium high might be fine because this is not necessarily something that the town is doing, but how they actually come up with the restoration plan, who knows? Maybe the Conservation Commission wants a different type of restoration plan. So Brittany and I talked about it a lot of, you know, what was the adjective or the action item? So originally I had just the Cape Cod Hospital Bayview project, and then I discussed it with Weston and Sampson, like, well, we need some type of action. So I'm just
Continue with.
continue. right?
Sounds very
As
busy.
benign as I could get, continue with. It's not support because we don't know what they're proposing, so we don't know whether we can
Correct.
support it or not. But I do think the idea of the medium highs or high is a good point if you guys want to decide on changing.
I
that.
just wanted to take a minute since that's important. A little lower than high,
Yes.
medium high, but
Yeah.
Kathy is saying medium high.
Yes.
It's kind of like, isn't there a setting on like the old ovens? Isn't there a setting on the old fashioned
That's
ovens?
still on the new ones too.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to look when I get home. Okay.
Mine simmer burn. Those are the options.
All right. Thank you for letting me just talk through that nuance for a second.
No, I appreciate.
I also recognize in addition to everything else, like it's in Yarmouth, but it's not ours. In
Right.
terms of the actual work.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
thank
think-
you, Kathy.
Oh, no, thank you guys. The other item that came up, was the Mill Pond Marshes, which is basically, the northern segment of the, Bayview Bogs on the north side of Route 28. And he had mentioned, Mark had mentioned this at the meeting, and I think he's mentioned it, maybe to some of the Conservation Commission members about maybe doing a study of these headwaters and expressed concerns about whether the pumping from the nearby Barnstable wells is impacting, this wetland. Brittany and I had a good conversation about it, and I did not add any specific language in here because I don't even think the Board of Selectmen have necessarily discussed
or
this
the
or
Select
voted
Board.
on. Right, sorry.
Sorry.
It is gonna take me time. For the select board has discussed it or made it a priority. I know this is something that is of interest to Mark. We also, in your packets are some aerial photographs, kind of showing that Brittany had provided. That kind of shows that you can kind of see back in 1938, this is what it looked like. And then this is what it kind of looks like today. And then it didn't look significantly different either in wetland species or water.
Exciting. We're in a phone call. The first in our brief history. We've gotten a live phone call.
This is my
No,
computer.
it's all right.
I should just close
Oh,
that out
Phone
beforehand.
rings on your computer? That's
Um,
Because the town line goes right here. And the pumping water.
It's right.
Yes, it's
just on the
literally
side.
right,
It goes
right
behind the
here.
side with that.
Yeah, it's
building.
right over here. Oh, Amanda's here too.
Oh,
Can't
hi,
see me.
Amanda.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Hang on one
Thank you,
second.
Amanda. We'll work on that. Can I ask a question about the aerials while we're talking? So I did look at the aerials. First of all, when I grow up, I want to run historicaerials.com. It's very
It is so cool.
It makes me now want to go look at all the pictures of our property at camp. I guess I'll do that in my spare time. I don't know. I'm just a dumb guy looking at a picture. I didn't. Where is how it's gotten so worse?
That's the point. Really. It doesn't look worse to me.
Okay, so
So not really proportional, so you can't.
no, that's true. I was,
True.
I know the top photo was more zoomed out and the
Right.
bottom photo is more zoomed in.
But you can see you can actually
Why don't you-
see in both of them
Yeah.
the actual water course, and then you see this open water body here, and then the
Right.
general area is kind of the same. I mean, I realize that they're not quite to scale, but you can kind of see all the same components in 1938 are still there in 2024.
I guess, so was Mark saying that even though none of us were here in 1938, I can assure us, right? We weren't physically there. Is he saying that the water level was
Higher. It's
Yeah.
not as.
20
large-
feet
it's not
high
as
and now
large
it's
as
8 feet high or whatever?
here.
Okay.
It's not.
I know that's not the real
Yeah.
numbers, but
The wetlands are as well.
okay. But he's saying that because he's saying that, or he's saying that because we actually have some proof. I'm not
Well,
denying.
That's what the
what-
study I think he
Yeah,
wanted to
that's
do.
I see.
Because he.
So they're gonna go back in
mentioned
the
that-
time machine to 1938 and measure the water. Sorry, I'm
Yeah, and
I'm
the
just,
reason we didn't want to include it because there's not a clear action. Like, what would the result of the study be and what are we aiming to solve? If we're aiming to solve that Barnstable can't drink water,
We
that's not a
need-
solution.
We
So,
needed direction. We
yeah,
need
there's
direction
just
from
like
the
no
selectmen
direction.
instead of just
um,
one person.
Yeah,
do
are we
need
worried about
direction.
endangered species?
Yeah.
Are we worried about, so we don't know what we're worried about, so that's why we're not gonna put it in at this time.
There was
as an
a-
action item,
Correct.
but we are concerned.
Well, he's.
I'm sorry,
concerned.
there's been expression of concern. I mean, well, we're concerned about a lot of things, I would say.
Well, he did mention when he was younger, he could take a boat around that, what was it? It was the treasure chest building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
well,
And now he can't, but you know,
boats could be made.
it's true.
so it doesn't sound like there's a reason to make this an extra action item when we already have an item that literally says identify future
Yeah,
projects. Am I, is
So
anybody,
that's identification of future projects.
so I mean, unless we specifically call it out to say, to include the Mill Pond marshes, I mean, I don't know what the benefit would be of doing that compared to all the other, right, then you, then this thing would be like, 12, 20 lines long, right? 3A, 3D3. Is there some way to footnote? I don't know. I'm trying to be respectful of the conversation, but at the same time, I'm not hearing anybody saying we must put this in as a separate action item. Can we
Well,
footnote it or something?
I think we have it on the one that says identify future wetlands restoration. We
Agreed.
could write AKA Mill Pond, for
Okay.
that's not
example,
the
or
only
IE.
one, or
Yeah, I don't-
vice versa.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
but like
so,
that's right.
yeah.
So it feels like that's the proverbial slippery slope. Of
Yeah.
like, well, all of a sudden, we're gonna have more meetings so that everybody can get what they want on this
Right.
document, and that isn't a good
Right.
use of anybody's time. So there are no footnotes to this. Nor are you looking to create some.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I think-
Because the document is long enough.
I think this is a case of, an 11th hour comment. I mean, there were certainly comments during the public review process. We didn't incorporate absolutely everybody's comments. I think the other ones that he had are further along or made some sense or could easily be incorporated and it might make some sense. So, he feels as though the marshes have degraded in some way is the impression I got at the meeting. I don't know, Christine was there and Ellie was there.
They've degraded.
Yeah.
It's being pumped dry by Barnstable.
so,
I think we should just shut the water off. on public water.
so if we flash forward to this,
No.
this is gonna be, so just to connect all the dots here. what we do from this meeting is all gonna be done during what portion of the future select board meeting, right? It's all
The consent agenda.
Exactly. So, you know,
Mhm.
and if there are any questions from that particular select board member, I think you have your answer as to why it's not a separate action item, but it was discussed by the entire OSRP. And we appreciate him bringing it to our attention,
And we feel it's pretty much covered
and we feel it's covered in 3D3. Anybody else have any?
think
More to
it's
say about that?
One of several that could be identified in the future.
There you go.
Perfect.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yay, pickleball.
I sound like one of the players every time she steps on the court. Pickleball.
Oh, boy.
Is that a thing?
I know
Steve,
we're
continue
playing
your excitement.
pickleball, we don't have to keep saying it.
Okay.
I'm just looking for A plus. What I'm looking.
All
for.
right, Steve. All right. This meeting is being recorded. Okay.
I think an A is very good.
I
Um,
too.
pickleball, Mark was concerned, and I think we all know about this, that there's been concerns about noises with the pickleball paddles and making it. So maybe not necessarily specifying where it would go, but just kind of indicating that we also need to be cognizant of where it's located and how it's, and I think designed might also play a role in that. You know, if it's down in a hollow and you have like a berm or so, there's other mechanisms that you can do besides just the location. So the edit that was made to 4C-2 was just to taking away the reference to Sandy Pond, because that seemed like it might be still a little bit up in the air. But
Well,
priority,
actually, that place would be ideal because there's
I
no
think it-
place close.
yeah, but there's might be
The
some
house-
concerns about people across the, there's some, yeah, across the street. But I think there might be ways of locating it, or like I said, berms, or maybe there's like, you know, some type of sound walls or certain things that could be done in order to accommodate that if it was an issue. So just locating and designing to minimize conflicts with other uses, and that's really the residential.
The biggest thing is the location, like the sound.
Yeah. No, it's still a good, yeah.
Well, Until
Okay.
the industry commits to,
Yeah.
hey,
They're
we're
working on
making
it.
new balls and new
Silencers.
rackets,
working
and the
on it.
entire
They're working
world
on
is gonna have to
firewalls.
buy new stuff.
Yeah, no, I had no issue.
All right.
Steve.
Fine.
All
So
righty then.
that's good
Let's
as
talk
is.
fish ladders, people.
Okay. And I did coordinate with Bill on the fish ladders.
Sorry,
I did coordinate with Bill Benetti on the
Yeah.
fish ladders. I believe I think he's on vacation.
how dare he?
I know. And again, this is all related to kind of funding sources of,
Steve.
you know, but there is some funding that has been given to improving the fish ladders at Long Pond Dam right there at the outlet of the pond, and then also at Tom Matthews Pond on White's Brook. So we added 2 action items, and also to identify any future ones. We added 2 action items. One was to just acknowledge that we are improving the fish ladders at White's Brook, Tom Matthews Pond, and at Parkers River at the Long Pond outlet. And then the second one there is to improve fish ladders along the Parkers River at Forest Road. That's one that's also been identified as a future project.
Right.
So it's just getting them in the books again for potential grant funding and that type of thing.
I have a comment on funding sources as well.
Okay.
Last week, the federal government, National Oceanic and Atmospheric
NOAA.
Administration,
NOAA.
NOAA,
Friends.
which is not on our funding source.
Okay. Okay.
Awarded $5 million to Yarmouth and Bourne, of which Yarmouth got 4.7 million for Bass River projects. So that should be indicated under
Yeah.
3C1 and 3D1. And then NOAA should be included on our list of funding.
So you were suggesting I'm sorry, let me just look here. 3C1. Oh, great. Yeah.
NOAA.
Okay. Yep.
and
Noah.
3D1 NOAA.
Okay.
And this is the press release.
Cool. Thanks for
So
seeing.
Noah for the, okay.
It's just
After the redoing of the,
Okay.
cranberry
So
sauce.
Noah might be an opportunity for, let's see. I just want,
future.
so for future funding for 3C-1 and 3C-2, which are tidal restoration projects,
Right.
which we did get NOAA money for the Parkers River title. So very good point. And then also the restoration of the cranberry bog. So 3D-1 and 3D-2 and 3D-3. Perfect.
Oh,
Great catch there.
and I'm assuming this OSRP then, like for other, it also helps when we go back to them. Or could go back to them, just like we go back to lots of folks. And they go, where's your OSRP? And we go, there it is. What else? What else do you want?
Hopefully we don't throw it
I
out.
didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
Well, when,
Right.
when-
I get to,
a lot more noise than.
right, it would actually thud.
Yeah.
Right. Steve is looking for a paperweight. For his desk. Kidding. Beautiful.
Okay,
Um,
excellent.
okay. So,
So,
so there's no other particular items to discuss. I just have a big picture question.
Yep.
You answered half of it, which is this goes as part of the consent agenda, excuse me, at a future select board meeting with some sort of memo, I'm
Yeah.
assuming from you, that says, hey, we heard what you said. This is what we did. Here's the thing. Have a nice day.
They don't have to be there.
no,
Okay.
and I'll have the support letter
Yeah.
in there for them to sign.
So then, but this is after this includes the part that we've already answered all the concerns from the preliminary approval by DCS anyway.
We should have answered all
Right,
of
but I
those
mean,
questions
so
in the
this is
previous
just-
edit.
Little tiny cherries on top
It's
got
to
it.
get to the next.
to then go to
level.
DCS.
Yes.
Okay.
So once we get the support letter from the select board, we can finalize the whole application and send that back in with a memo to DCS, kind of saying, we feel we've addressed them here, here, and
Right.
here, and here. Weston and Sampson did feel that we had properly addressed all of the concerns from DCS in here, so.
And then, so assuming that happens, let's say in June, it's all done, the select board says, yay, you send your stuff into DCS, then what do they get? 90 days, 120 days to
uh,
officially bless this thing officially? Official.
Probably 3 to 4 months. It really is a
Okay.
function of their workload.
Okay.
So if we can get it in before the park grants all come in for the next round, that probably would be good. I want to get this on their agenda for May 7th. I just want to be done before they change
Yeah.
membership.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I've
Definitely
got a
before the
question now.
election. Yeah, definitely before the election. I think everybody agrees with that. So basically, after that happens, so will you please let us know when it's on the agenda?
Yes.
And then secondly, I would just say, it sounds like to everybody, hopefully sometime after Labor Day, you're gonna get a nice email from Kathy that says, here's the letter from DCS. Congratulations, everybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take a step back because that's part of the fun about being your chair.
Yeah.
It's flying
Now,
10,000
do we
feet
need
off.
to
the
make a
ground.
motion to approve these changes or?
I don't know. Thank you, Ellie. It's a good question.
You can go ahead and make a formal vote if you want to.
let's
But I
do
know
that
that, I
question
know that
first.
Gail had some things she wanted
Sorry.
to add.
Thanks, Ellie. We'll get to it. Of
Thank you.
course.
Under responsibility parties, we need one of
Sorry, can you tell us what page you are at the very bottom? The very, very bottom?
135.
Yeah, that's fine. 135. Got it. Says it real quick. No, it's all good. So what did you want to put on here?
The Disability
Um,
Commission.
Oh, right, Disability Commission. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Got it.
So can I get, if there's what items in the actual table 9-2, I know that there's a bunch of them related to ADA, I believe in under 4. We would just put the Disability Commission like 4C on page 133. Like review and improve ADA accessibility for what, I mean, we should put you guys on there too.
Said 4.3C.
4C5 and 4C6.
What about 4.3?
I would
Oh,
say
4C3?
Probably two with that.
Yep,
too.
anything that says ADA in it. Anything with ADA in it, how does that sound? Okay, so it's
Yeah.
really all of those. Yep. Very good call. Thank you for letting us.
You.
That's a good.
That's why we have many different pairs of eyes, many different constituencies.
Are we working on that project?
The Riverwalk Park? Yeah.
Because that's why I want to make sure that the Disability Commission is involved, just in case, like.
Yeah.
Park benches and bathrooms and things of that nature.
Well, yeah, I mean, because this is a new facility, it should be
Right.
completely accessible and it should meet all of the
We'll
requirements.
be able to get.
And I
built.
do know like the armchairs that we have, the benches that we have arms on them to help people. And obviously the restrooms are going to be fully accessible with an accessible route. The new is easy. It's the old and the retrofitting that's harder. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but that should be completely accessible, not an issue.
Thank you for pointing that out. Is there anything else anyone else would like to bring up? Anthony?
On the funding sources. Just wanted to add the National Parks and Recreation. They have a great
NRPA.
grant program.
NRPA.
I've never heard. National Park,
NRPA.
NRPA,
Yeah. What does that stand for? National Rec-
Rec and Park Association.
Association.
so is it Rec or Recreation and Park Association?
National. Just spell
Recreation and Park
National Recreation and Park.
Association. Okay, hang on 1 second. So let me just put that in.
Yeah, do you have specific places you would like it to be put in?
I mean, any of the. Um. Facilities to be.
No.
Can you tell us what page you are at the bottom or action item?
I'm
One
sorry.
33. There we go. Oh,
So what items?
any of these 4Cs, all those?
Because they, the grants that they have for. Playgrounds and.
Do they,
courts and all
do they
that
fund
stuff.
master plans too? Or is it just
Um,
physical items?
I believe it's just physical.
All right,
items,
so probably not for the first one. Because the first one's.
Listen,
4C.
right, probably 4C3 is improvements to the different parks.
Oh, I'm
based on
sorry,
the
you say
master plan.
based on the updated master. plan.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
They wouldn't necessarily do signage on trails, right? They're just, okay, review and improve accessibility. Not, what about C-5, the Moby Mats? I think we have that kind of covered. We
Yep.
should probably put CDBG.
Yep.
That's what was those community development block grant was
yeah.
used for, the Moby
So
Cares.
this is why we have a glossary, an abbreviation
Yes.
table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that. They do
So
offer
let's see,
funds.
CDBG. Wait, hold on, it might be on the back.
But I'm just wondering whether else we would put the NRPA. So
So I think under,
Oh, there it is.
So improving, like let's just go through the fours.
Sure.
Right.
So 4C-6 and 133, review and improve ADA accessible recreation playgrounds, including equipment and services. Would they fund something like that?
I mean, potentially, they have so many different kinds of grants for different kind of playgrounds and it kind of changes. And so it's really applicable to any physical structures.
So even what about picnic tables and benches and stuff?
Mhm.
Is that? Okay.
I mean, they have stuff for lighting, stuff for coaches. And
I'm not doing signs, but I think I know there's some other better funding sources. Okay. So was someone saying, and it doesn't cover it doesn't cover program, it's just the physical improvements.
I I don't want to put it on everything, but what they do, so they have grants for like coaches packages, so like online coaching material.
Oh, they do?
So it is physical and there are some like software stuff that you can get. So I guess program related as well.
So would it apply to anything on 4E? On page 134? So last page here.
44 is pretty broad.
Yeah, I think 4E4 would make sense,
Yes.
maybe.
So 4E4?
Yep.
Okay. And let's face it, if the grant funding source isn't on here, we can still apply
Oh,
for
Okay,
it.
that's fine. I didn't be thorough. I just wanted to make sure that if it was.
They have recognition of some
course.
sort, yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to be like,
8-0. We love everything. Go ahead.
all right, I'm looking at like everything at DTW, right?
I'm sorry, what page are you on, please?
Oh, okay, page 132.
Okay.
You see over here, there's like something, one of the benefit guidance. For the historic,
What action are we on?
486.
yeah.
Thank you.
4A6.
I'm just thinking out loud,
Mhm.
like, should the disability commission be involved in all these things? I mean, I'm not saying we're trying to push anything, but I'm just saying like, like our insight, I mean, will they know enough to like make sure that the bathrooms are,
Well, I think what we need to understand is that there's building code and then there's architectural access board requirements that are all administered through
Right.
the building department. So if it's a new improvement of a certain amount, they're required to make all of those types of improvements. So I think when you're having improvements to historic structures, those are the actual structures themselves. There may be some structures where you can't have handicap accessibility because of the historic nature of it.
I don't know, I mean.
I think that would be an interested party, but not a responsible party.
Good
So,
point, Steve.
Interest is
Yeah.
good, but
Yes.
responsibility is another thing.
And no, Steve is not asking you to add another column next to responsible parties either.
No.
Because, but I do think that's an important distinction. Does that work
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I think, DPW is like a huge blanket, umbrella because
I know,
it
but
covers
I'm looking
parks
at
and
it.
facilities and those types of things, yeah.
It's really kind of like very interesting how after we did the community access monitoring, what we found was that like good percentage of all the buildings, one little simple thing I was telling the guys, just the door's too heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't
Sure.
really realize that if you don't have any issues with.
Yeah.
Lights.
Yeah, when I did, I mean, one of the things that you should probably, if you start going to the recreation and open spaces, is take a look at, I think it's Appendix F or whatever. We went to every single facility and did that. But like, even when we went to Grays Beach, the knobs were turning knobs. And they what they tried to do that was they got rid of the latch, and that's fine to help you get in, but if you're in there,
Right.
you can't get out again. So there was a request to change those to the different types of, so a lot of simple things like that. And sometimes like the hook in the handicap accessible restroom was above 54 inches. So you can't, if you're in a wheelchair, you can't put your hook on it. So just have it lower, and just very simple things like that. A lot of things were also maintenance issues because you're supposed to have like an insulation and cover on the plumbing below the handicap accessible sink, but they get ripped off, and they get damaged, and they get removed. And there's only so much that we can do to keep up with those types of things. But even like, how high is and we don't think about it, but how high is the soap dispenser? How do you get to the the paper towels? So there's all height requirements on all of those types of things. And so we did go through and take a look at all of that. So, and there were some areas that did need some tweaking.
Right, we found that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
All right. Before we go to a motion, are there any other areas or things that folks would like to bring up about Kathy's memo? Any of our online friends? No? Okay. All right. So do we want a motion?
If you want to make a simple motion, you could
Just
just,
make a motion, we approve that were added to the master plan.
We can, we'll work on the exact
well,
language.
I'm just saying you can
but-
accept the changes to the action items and added responsible parties and funding sources.
Sounds good.
What,
Okay.
anybody have a second for
moved.
that? Seconded by Christine, thanks. Any discussion on that? No, all right, let's have a vote. Gail,
yes.
thank you. Steve?
Yes.
Thank you. Christine?
Aye.
Thank you. Ellie?
Aye.
Will? Aye. Unanimous. We love it.
Just a little
Moving
bit on the next steps. Obviously, we have minutes to
Yeah.
approve, and we will probably have to, once we get approval, have one weird last meeting where we approve the minutes of this meeting and then some truncated minutes of the final meeting of just acknowledging that we're done with our ad hoc committee. And then we can, obviously you guys would need to know the Conservation Commission's the one that formed the ad hoc committee and that we have successfully completed our duties. Thank you very much. So there'll be probably one more weird, very, very short meeting.
That'll be one of the few times I'll actually be very happy with a Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
You
that's
Only
all.
hear me say that very often,
Yeah.
but sorry, Christine. You were
Well,
gonna say.
thank you, Kathy, for guiding us through it.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh,
this-
yeah,
the
you're more than
presentation
welcome.
was certainly
Yes.
excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was
No,
great.
People were very positive. So, and honestly, I know how much work everybody did. You guys were here, everyone religiously coming to these meetings. We had a lot that were very condensed in order to get it in by July, and we did it, and we got the park grant for the Riverwalk Park.
Awesome.
And we're still, and we're also eligible for more park grants, even with only the conditional approval. So that was very, very important.
How much did you get for the ribbon?
Almost $500,000.
That's real money.
Yeah.
And also thank you for bringing that up, Christine. Also want to thank Amanda and Nate and Roby and Bill who are not here. Do we miss anybody? No, I think that's everybody.
Kathy Finn did his final paper for his land use class on the Yarmouth Open Space and Recreation Plan, presented it last week.
Did you get an A?
Yeah, I think
I want an A
so.
plus out of that.
Are you talking about an intern?
Yeah.
My
No, he's
assistant
employed.
Finn, he started a month ago and he's just finishing his graduate program, but
Oh.
working as well.
Wow. Cool. Well, I think we should all get a copy. No, I'm kidding. Maybe electronic. No, we should. But did he watch all the Did he watch all the meetings?
Well,
What
he
did
watched
do?
the select board meeting.
Oh, okay.
and he-
Smart kid
he
came in
read
at the end.
At the end.
He was like, I'm just gonna watch the meeting where they show all the work that they.
It's all
did."
summarized beautifully.
Right, exactly. But you gotta show them how the sausage is made. Here's 42 hours worth of Zoom meetings. See you later. All right. Okay. Speaking of meeting minutes, may I please have a motion to approve the minutes of March 15th, 2024?
So moved.
Thank you, Christine. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you, Ellie. All right, let's vote. Christine,
Aye.
Gail, Ellie,
aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Will. Aye. Okay, there's that. So they pass unanimously. Upcoming meetings, as Kathy said, TBD. And again, I hope for everybody's sake that if you still have the technology, you don't need to come all the way down here for literally a 1-minute meeting. But if you choose to, I'm sure Kathy would love the company.
I'm gonna be here
Yeah, I
or
was
over
gonna
there.
say,
I
you're
mean.
You guys can be on your
Anthony can be
computers.
Zoom.
guys
He
can
doesn't
be
even
on
have to
your
come for
computers.
the minute.
I know, but you can still be like, hi, Kathy. All
That's a good point. For the minutes, staff doesn't need to come, other than me. It's just the committee.
Also, just wanted to follow up again and just say thanks to all of you, because this is one of the more, well, I would say, it's one of the most interesting ad hoc committees, because it really does pull in so many incredibly talented people from across the town, both professionally and civilianly. You know what I meant? It's a really interesting cross section of our town, and it's also.
Volunteer.
Thank you, voluntarily. It's also,
New word.
it's also a reminder of how great a town we do have. Because without this fun dynamic of incredibly talented people working across many different disciplines, the town wouldn't be the town that we love. So thank you all very much. And thank you to Bill and also Roby, who aren't here, and our friends on the internet from Weston and Sampson, who did a great job too.
And Kathy who's pulled it off, yeah.
And of course, Kathy gets, why do you think I keep bringing her eggs?
I do
She's
like
done
the
an
eggs.
excellent job.
That's
Hey,
right.
I clearly did that. All right, is there anything else?
I could make a motion.
I would love that, Steve.
I think I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, is there a second on that?
Second,
Thank you, Ellie. There was a race. Okay, let's vote on it. Ellie,
aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
who did I miss? Oh, sorry, Gail. Aye, okay, me, aye. That's it. We did it.
All right.
All right. Excellent.
We did it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
She said May 7th, it's the select board, you're trying to get it down for.
Hang on one second. Yes,